Yo, what's going on, guys? TeeChurch here, and this is a topic today that I've been wanting to talk about again for a while. I've talked about this in a previous video, but it seems that the topic is coming up again, and it's just related to burnout in esports. Now, this happens to a lot of people. It is actually known as the number one factor why the majority of esports players will end up quitting after some period of time. But we're talking about burnout today, guys. So I wanted to just cover what the causes are, what the symptoms are, how you can identify it, and then how you can start to work to manage burnout, because it is something that if you can learn to identify it and you can learn to manage it, it will help to prolong your career in esports, and it can even help you ensure that you do get to the level that you want to get to, because I know so many players that end up quitting that before they get to the level that they actually want to reach, simply because they work too hard on the wrong things and they end up burning themselves out because they think that they constantly have to be working, otherwise they're going to fall behind their peers. So I wanted to start off by talking about what are some of the causes of burnout, right? So a high level of workload, a lack of recognition for your achievements and your success, not having time to manage your interpersonal relationships outside of the game, a lack of community, and a toxic work environment are all contributing factors to to the feeling of burnout. And I think we all know that in this community, it can be rather toxic at times. It can be difficult to find a group of friends that has a similar mindset to you and that wants to grind the game in the same way that you do. And we also know that achievements are pretty hard to come by. At least achievements that are respected at the highest of levels, simply because we do exist in an environment that can be rather toxic, and you have to be pretty mentally tough to be able to understand that you are the one that can be proud of your achievements, regardless of what other people say about you or say about them. So those are some of the causes of burnout, guys. Next, we're going to end up talking about the symptoms that leads to, and then we're going to talk about how we can start to manage those symptoms. So burnout can affect you in multiple different ways. You can have physical burnout and you can have mental burnout. So physically speaking, some of the symptoms are going to be things like headaches, high blood pressure, which I doubt many of you are going to have to deal with, simply for the fact of a lot of you guys are young kids, you're still relatively healthy. But you can also have digestive problems. You can have issues with sleep and insomnia. Fatigue is another big one that is fairly obvious in terms of physical symptoms. You can also have a lot of jaw clenching that you may not even notice, just because it's something that's happening subconsciously. And then you can also have a lot of muscle tension and pain. I know for me personally, one of the things that I start to experience a lot when I start to burn out is I start to experience a lot of pain in my neck and my shoulders. And so I know that once I start to feel that way, that's when it's my time to rest, maybe take a couple of days off, spend some time talking to friends and family, and start to utilize those things to start to recover from burnout. Now, on the mental side, you can start to feel really depressed. You can even start to feel suicidal if you are given to feeling that way. You can also start to have feelings of worthlessness. A lot of times this will manifest itself in the sense of, oh, I'm never going to be good enough for my goals. And this is oftentimes what leads people to end up quitting anyways. You can also have a loss of pleasure or interest. Think about this as like, oh, the game's just getting boring. You can have issues concentrating. Maybe you have a day where you're not playing as well as you think that you should. That can be the start of starting to feel burnt out. You can also have issues with anger, irritability, and then also a sense of detachment, meaning that you aren't as concentrated or focused on your improvement as you should be. So now that you guys know what some of the symptoms are, you can start to look out for those, and then you can start to implement the things that I'm going to be talking about in the next section of the video in order to start to recover and start to feel better so that you can continue on with your grind. So this is one of the most important parts is, okay, so like we've started to feel maybe a little bit depressed. We're starting to have a little bit of muscle tension or pain. We're starting to notice that we're experiencing headaches more often than normal. So what is it that we're going to do that's going to allow us to recover? Well, if we go back and we look at the first section of the video again, and we talk about the contributing factors to burnout, that's what we need to focus on in order to understand, okay, how are we going to manage the symptoms of burnout? How are we going to start to recover from this? So one of the things that I really encourage people to do is to have a set schedule and understand when they're going to grind and when they're not going to not. So for some of you guys, you could easily play the game for 8 to 10 hours a day and not even break a sweat and not even feel like you're really doing that much work. For other people, you may only get to 3 or 4 hours before the game starts to get boring or you start to lose interest. Wherever that line is for you personally, I recommend that you stop playing once you start to feel that way, because anything more than that is going to start to contribute to feeling symptoms of burnout. And you don't want to be in a situation where on a singular day you're pushing yourself past your limit, because that is the fastest way to start to approach burnout. Number 2, make sure that you have at least 1 or 2 days every single week that you can just take time to relax, spend time with friends, hang out in a Discord call, watch a movie, go hang out with your parents or people in real life, go out and do certain things that you enjoy. And just overall, make sure that you get to be able to spend time away from the game. That's one of the biggest things that I don't see a lot of people doing that needs to be done, because they feel like if they spend any time away from the game that they're going to start to fall behind their peers. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is going to the gym. Now, this is something that I talk about a lot on social media. I'm a massive proponent of exercise in esports because I think it's the number one way to, number one, stay healthy while gaming. Number 2, it gives you time away from the game. And number 3, it's actually going to help you improve your mental performance. So utilizing those 3 things, I think, is going to be key for a lot of you guys to be able to prevent symptoms of burnout and to make sure that you guys can prolong your grind and continue to go at this thing for a long period. Because there's a common saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to be the same thing for you guys chasing a career in professional gaming. You're not going to be able to become a pro overnight. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, resilience in order to get to the highest level in any esport. So I hope that this helps you guys. And if you guys have anything that you have noticed helps you manage your burnout symptoms, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And as always, if this video helped you guys out, please remember to comment and subscribe. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.